viewers, welcome back to Good Morning Tobago here on Tobago Updates Television. Diving right into conversations, continuing along nicely this morning. We have in set with us incumbent Assemblyman for Mason Hall Mariah, Ian Whitey Pollard. Good morning, son. Welcome.
Good morning to you, and good morning to Tobago. Good morning to the Constituent Electoral District of Mason Hall Mariah and all your viewing public.
So recently, we would have seen quite a bit of controversy surrounding your specific electoral district. And then we would have had on Monday night the much jubilation at the Esplanade, where the public was duly informed then that you were reselected after by the screening committee to represent. I want you to take me back a bit and tell me firstly about your screening experience.
Well, first I'd like to clear it up. It was not a controversy. It's just a democratic process because they had questions about all the nominees and they had the right to take the time to select the right persons. So I wouldn't see it as controversy.
You wouldn't say that with all the voice notes that would have been leaked, all the comments that would have been made. So probably it was not an internal controversy, but is it that it was an external controversy surrounding the persons that they would have surrounding the perspectives that persons would have wanted chosen? Because there was a bit of a pulling and a tugging of who wanted who.
Well, that's normal. That's normal in the business because everybody will support someone. So I wouldn't see it as controversy. Some persons will support whoever they would need it, but at the end, the screening committee and the political leader has the right to make the choice that they made. So whoever they selected, that will be acceptable by everyone, I'm certain.
Of course. So tell me, back to the original question. Tell me about your experience with the screening process.
Well, it was a good screening. I mean, they asked things that were, I'm knowledgeable about. They asked what my plans for the community, which I've always had as my mandate since 2020, that I want to see in Mason Hall Mariah and the north side of Tobago. So it was a very good experience, because the first time when we threw our hat in, there wasn't any screening. We just decided to go out and try to put Tobago on a different trajectory. But this time having to go through the process of answering and have a panel in front of you. But it's a normal interview process.
You were prepared based on what you believe you would have contributed?
Yes, sir.
And are you satisfied? We at the end of your 4-year tenure, or let's say with optimism in mind, your first 4-year tenure, right? We're at the end of it. I'm not going to ask you how you grade yourself. I want to ask you, are you personally satisfied with the service that you would have given?
No, I'm not fully satisfied. Anyone who come on the set and say that they are satisfied would be disingenuous because we have been underfunded for 3.5 years when we had the PNM in power in Trinidad. And now that we are seeing that we are getting a higher budgetary allocation, we know that we could deliver more to the people of Tobago because that's the objective. Lifting the standard of Tobago, making Tobago a better place, making it the greatest island on the planet. So we will never get enough money, but now that you don't have the shackles of you being underfunded and stuff like that, they gave me $4 million in 4 years to develop housing. How could you? That could never happen. Now they kept back at least 20 million TT from the Rise On project. I just got an email yesterday from the minister that they are willing to come over and hand over that money to the Tobago Urban and Rural Housing Company and the T.H.A. to start that housing project. So it's a better feeling. You feel a bit lighter now that you don't have this animosity and this antagonism across the water about lack of funding. And
so your expectation moving forward is for a much more friendly disposition between the central government and the T.H.A.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and through that avenue, you believe that you would be able to accomplish more, not only in your district, but whatever division you're placed under. Yes,
and now that, remember when we went in, we always say, we have a joke among ourselves, we went in as OJTs. So we have 4 years experience now, you know how to handle the situation better. It was one of my first experience in the public service. And you see the pitfalls, you see the smooth roads, you know what to avert, where to divert. So it's only going ahead. I think we're on an upward trajectory once we have the budgetary allocation. And I think we could govern from a better place now that we have that 4 years experience.
You had, please correct me if I'm wrong, was it 2 other nominees that would have vied for Mason Hall Mariah?
3. We had 3. Mr. Alan Stewart,
Ms. Latoya Horsford,
and Mr. Bevon Dennis.
Right. I want to ask you, coming out of the screening and now being reselected for the area, what is the relationship like between you or amongst the four of you? Is it, well, you tell me.
Well, we had a meeting, I think it was night before last night, that was Wednesday night, where the nominees were invited and other nominees were invited. I don't know if they got on to Mr. Dennis, but Ms. Hosford and Mr. Stewart was present. And we sat down and charted the way forward, how we're going to campaign, what we expect, and everybody is on board. So it's all about including everybody, inclusiveness now.
All right, so it's all about the bigger picture. It's a big picture
It's a
moment.
bigger picture. Everybody has the right. It's competition. Everybody has the right, but I'm glad that they are on board. So we're just putting the mechanism, the tools in place so that we could get moving from this afternoon where we start campaigning.
Start your campaign from this afternoon?
Yes.
All right, hitting the ground running. How has that been, the preparation, and what are your expectations going into it?
Well, we will have those persons who are disenchanted who will tell you what, but that's norm, that's part of the game. That's part of politics. People have a right to voice how they feel. Now that we could be able to hear their concerns, we can now address some of these concerns. Like I say, we're going in with more experience now and having a different look so that you could at least deliver to the people of Mason Moriah and the entire Tobago. But in essence also you'll be able to target those most in need and be able to do it, because we have some great plans for the area in Mason Moriah. We still have a meeting with some of the business persons in our community as to plan the way forward for our community.
Now, I know the party will have a manifesto overall, the Tobago People's Party.
Mandate, yeah.
Mandate overall. Tell me, what do you have specifically for your area, if you're willing to divulge any of that? And what areas did you plan on looking at in the past 4 years that you did not get to touch on?
Well, I'm big on, it's close to my heart about housing, land development. And I'm hoping that we could get the Adelphi estate acquired. We had talk with the Prime Minister when she was here. And I think they're going to acquire that, start the process of that 144 acres. So we could have it for village expansion, so we could have more commercial activity here. A fuel station, fire station, some of these things that are lacking on the north. So I would really like to see these things off and provide lands to those who are less fortunate. Even though we start to give them some startup house, just give them 2 bedrooms and they finish it. But provide for those who are mostly in need, the people working CPEP, URP, some of the single mothers who are struggling. So we provide them a parcel of land and some kind of housing so they could get their lives back on track.
What would you say to those within your constituency that say, Whitey didn't perform in the past 4 years, we didn't want to see Whitey back? Because, there are persons that saying, well, it's just a handful of persons that was making noise. That's not the sentiments being echoed by the majority of the community. What would you say to those persons that feel as though you did not deliver, or at least you didn't meet them halfway?
Well, now it's time to come on board. So let us come together so that we could grow the community. We will never be able to please everyone. But it's time to come on board, put aside our differences, and move forward. Even though at the end of the next 4 years, we still may not meet everyone. But it all is a bigger picture. It's about developing. Politics is about continuity. And probably someone will come after I step out of office and take it a little further. So you won't get everything out. It's part for the course. Persons, you will never have everyone being in tune or in line with what you're doing. You'll always have those who are disgruntled. And we are just here. Come and put your 2 cents in. Let us build Mason Moriah and build Tobago to make it the greatest little island on the planet.
How would you say over the past 4 years you have grown as a technocrat in that operational and legislative part of being a politician in a leadership position? Because as you say, you all have this little joke that you went in as OJTs, and you said you never served in public service. So when you got in there, I know you would have advisors and so on. But tell me, how have you grown? What have you developed? How have you even embarked on personal development to help you now position you in this place that once re-elected, because you've been reselected for the area, but once re-elected, that you could better serve whatever division?
Well, it's about growing and having the right persons around you. Having the team that will have your vision and at least have you achieve this vision that you have and the mandate set by the organization. So once you look at yourself, it's going to be an easier position. Like I said, we have learned over the last 4 years. So once we have the right persons, the right technical persons in place, you hire the right persons. And I must say that I'm very comforted by the housing company that we have been able to form, because once they are up and running, we're going to have a first draw very soon. So they take the load off my shoulders where housing is concerned, because as the secretary, you have to stay apart from the company. So I'll be able to concentrate on the grants and getting more grants to assist more people on who are needy. So we'll be able to form better relationship with Habitat for Humanity or other international agencies that we could help those who are deserving of the grants.
Right. And before we take a break, I want to jump in here into some politics, more deeper into the politics. So yes, I know we have the IDA. I think they have a candidate for up there as well. But I want to ask you, so you are going up against Kwesi Devines. Kwesi Devines would have been a former councillor, a former secretary. I want to ask you bluntly, how are you feeling about that?
I'm always confident. I remember in 2021, Mr. Devines was a councillor, a secretary, and I came out and I defeated him by 89 votes in 2021, January 25th. It's not my popularity have grown, among my people. So I'm quite confident. We are in a race. I'm not going to go into a race to say I'm going to come second. I know I will win and bring the seat home for the TPP.
All right. Okay, all right, viewers. So we're talking to Ian Whitey Pollard, Assemblyman for Mason Hall, Mariah. We're talking about the upcoming T.H.A. elections, all that's happening, and his campaign moving forward. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with lots more conversations right here on Good Morning Tobago. Viewers, welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. Thank you so much for staying with us, whether you are viewing us on Facebook, YouTube, Amplifier Flow, or Digicel. Thank you for choosing Tobago Updates Television. In studio with me this morning is an incumbent Assemblyman, Ian Whitey Pollard, for Mason Hall, Mariah, recently reselected by the Tobago People's Party to represent as a prospective candidate going forward in the January 12th, 2026 election, Tobago House of Assembly election, as announced by Chief Secretary Fali Augustine. Mr. Pollard, I want to ask you a bit about that voice note that was going about with you and a member of your staff that apparently there was a disagreement and there were some accusations made about you. Give me your feedback or your comments, or how was that resolved? Was it resolved? Is it still ongoing?
Well, that is something internal, but a conversation, I was just educating the staff of what is expected of her. Mm-hmm. And she thought otherwise. And I just told her what any normal person, any boss will expect from their employee or their subordinate. And it's water under the bridge that has been resolved already, and we are moving on.
So, I want to ask you though, because we are in the middle of an election season. Is it that as you would say, that you are comfortable with the team that you have around you, or you have trust issues with your team around you? Because I think the entire conversation was surrounding around trust, reliability, dependability, something like that.
Well, Judas was with Christ until his last supper. So you will have persons that you have certain trust issue with. But I don't make that the stumbling block. I look for those who are not committed. You will always find these pitfalls. Some persons might feel aggrieved and want to do some things that is illegal, because I know what she did is illegal by law. So it's just a matter of having those that you have the trust and confidence in, that you move forward.
All right. Well, it's interesting that you said that, because even incumbent Assemblyman Terrence Baines would have had a similar issue. Same thing would have been going wrong. I want to ask you your opinion on two things. One, the fractions that we would have seen in the public, that would have spilled in the public, do you think, in your opinion, it would negatively impact the TPP's chance at the polls? And also, I want to get your opinion on the recently installed radar system in Tobago.
Well, I don't think it will. I think we have, at least 34 more days to have the wounds healed. And I think that for the greater good of Tobago, I think everybody's going to come forward. Some people take things more personally than others. But we're hoping that they could climb that hurdle and get out there on election day, the 12th of January, and put the X solidly by the TPP and bring home a resounding victory for all 15 candidates.
Right. And you're confident that the fractions will have no
You'll have fraction in every election. Every election you'll have fraction. But it's about you and the bigger picture for your island or your country.
All right. And what about the radar system? Or what is your stance on this? Because it's been a controversial topic, not only just here in Tobago, but Trinidad and Tobago as a wider population. What is your stance on that?
I don't have any stance on it. My chief secretary has spoken about it, and that's there. He is the head. He has spoken, and no comments.
No personal stance as a citizen?
No personal stance. I'm part of a team, and the boss has already spoken. That's where I'm at, on that position.
On your position, but no personal stance?
No personal stance.
All right. All right, so we're moving straight and as we're going along into your campaign, right? So you say you're hitting the ground from today?
This afternoon, yeah.
Right. Starting from where?
Mason Hall. We're going to do the Dinette area, Content Trace, Easterfield Road. We start at 3:45. I don't like to be in people places when the news time, so try to get out like about 6 o'clock and cover as much ground.
I want to ask you, is there a specific area in your Mason Hall, Moriah district, is it that you would say is your stronghold, or is it that you're a complete man?
Well, I was born and grew in Easterfield Road, Content Trace. So if you know that side of Mason Hall, from time you enter by going into the football field, that area, and that's the biggest part of the electoral district. So I was born and grew there. I have lots of families, in-laws, everything like that. So there's where I'm most comfortable.
Right. Okay. And I know that the Tobago People Party already have their campaigns already going, nightly campaigns. When would we see the TPP up in Mason Hall, Moriah?
It's next Tuesday night.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah, at Elizabeth Dennis Beard Recreation Ground.
All right. And you're ready for this?
I am born ready.
Born ready?
Yes.
Confident that you are taking home this seat?
Yes, I am.
All right. I know that you would have spoken to the fact that you have conversations, you said upcoming conversations with business owners in the community.
Yes.
Or would those conversations be surrounded?
Well, everyone is willing to come apart and see how we could better our area, what we could do to develop our area, have some input, and we are welcoming to all of that, because when I told it to the team, everyone was glad, because everybody wants to give back to the area. So we have the project going to start shortly. The Highland Waterfall. We're going to develop it as a tourism from a tourism aspect. So we're supposed to start that, and I know with the Lennon crew and other persons coming on board, we try to do whatever we could do. But we have a lot of business persons willing to come back, and former persons who live there, like Mr. Jones from Jones Motor. These are all persons, was one of the first representatives for Mason Hall, and everybody's willing to come back and give their ideas, and let us just make Mason Hall more a better place.
I want to touch on crime a bit in your constituency, because our last murder, the 8th victim, would have happened right in Mason Hall, right in front of the mini-mart there. My question to you is, probably from knowledge that you would have gotten from TTPS, how active is the TTPS in your constituency? What more would you like to see? And how much is crime affecting Mason Hall, Moriah specifically?
Well, I usually meet with the station council, the TTPS. We have meeting once a month. I think I was there probably I missed the one last month. But they are very active within the community. They always drive through. They always come out and at least engage with the citizens. But crime, you cannot stop crime. But I'm just hoping that we could taper it down, because, I only saw it on social media. And for persons to come there with high-powered rifle, and I learned that it was 20 shots the guy took up. And I don't know, but I'm just trying that the young people could stay away from this life of crime, stay away from drugs, because this is what is breathing those kind of activities. So I'm hoping that they could stay away from that. We cannot employ everyone, but if you have a skill, harness your skill, get out from these deviant behaviors, because we can't control everyone. But we're hoping that they could take that responsibility upon themselves to make themselves model citizens and stay away from a life of crime. Yeah. But one murder is one murder too much.
Agreed. I want to speak to your Help Hand initiative. Lend Hand initiative. How long? Was it something that started before you were elected, or right after you elected, or is it that something that started within the last year? How long has this been ongoing?
It's been started in the last year and a half. But when I took office, I always wanted to do something that you could give back, because I was seeing the financial constraints. And we know persons out there struggling. And after COVID, some persons haven't gotten back on their feet as yet. And I, as Secretary for Housing, I will get the calls from persons who don't have anything to eat, who don't have anything. And then, you know, I just decided, I told the guys, let us form this group and go out and assist those who are most in need. Single mothers, senior citizens, or single parents. But there are persons out there, you see them walking the streets with a smile on their face, but things is really, really rough. So we decided that once you have your material, we're gonna come and assist you. You have your yard to cut, whatever we could do. I go out with the troops and make sure that we do what is necessary for the persons, because I know one person, a pensioner, some persons charge him $2,000 to cut his yard. And imagine you taking home a pension of $3,500. So yeah, it's that bad. So we decided, I'm glad that other persons came forward and gave him the assistance he needed before we got to him. But it's something that we intend to continue, whether in office or out of office, because there are persons out there who really need the help.
So it's a multiple of charitable steps that you'll take. You do the yard cutting, you do helping to repair something in a home, also food and so on. Yes,
we always do that. And I like to do things privately. I've always been running a tab at the groceries in my community, where persons call and don't have anything. I let them go and take whatever groceries they need, and I pay at the end of the month.
And this is something you do out of pocket?
Out of pocket.
All right. So you said that the past year and a half you started, what if persons are thinking, or persons that do think that that was a pre-campaign strategy? Was it?
No. I mean, I can't control what people think, but I know from my heart why I'm doing it. And like I said, I see and I hear the need of persons. And I'm glad that the team that surrounds me give up their time, their skill, and effort, that we could get this job done. Because I just have to we have a chat, we just have to put it in the chat, and guys are ready. We don't get paid for it. We do it out anything that you see we do it out of our pocket. Right. It will be easier if you have something to be done and you have your material. We have enough skill. We have persons all over Tobago willing to join the Land Hand crew, who want to give their vehicle, who say they are mason, who they are electrician, and they would like to assist. And this will be replicated in all 15 constituencies. Because it's not mason or Mariah, but it needs to be replicated, because persons throughout Tobago need that helping hand.
Well, I mean, you would have been one of the assemblymen that started under the PDP, and I know that Watson Juki did a lot of there was the roof repair. Yes. Roof repair, and yes. All right, and so I guess something like that would have been even spawned out of something like that. Yes,
but just hearing the cry of the citizenry, because like I say, as Secretary for Settlement Housing, you hear the cry of these single mothers, you hear the cry of these families. You hear the cry when you have men calling you. It's hard for a man to come and tell you that, okay, he's in this kind of financial situation or this situation. But when the men are reaching out to you, you know that things are really bad. But like I said, hats off to the Mason Morale and Hand crew. We're going to continue assisting as much as we could and give up our time to make Mason Morale a better place.
All right. And you said when would be the first meeting for...
On Tuesday night at 7 o'clock at the Elizabeth Dennis Beard Recreation Ground.
All right. Assemblyman Ian Whitey Pollard reselected to represent under the Tobago People's Party for his electoral district of Mason Hall, Mariah. Next Tuesday, the TPP heads up there. So look out for all that he will have to say, all that he would inform the public of what he plans on doing moving forward, going into this election season, and hopefully once he is reelected. Viewers, that's it for Good Morning Tobago. I want to thank you so much as I guest host this morning. Thank you so much for staying locked into Tobago Updates Television. Remember, the programming is never done. Remember, as we move into this election season, Tobago Updates Television is definitely your #1 and premier viewing station. You do not want to change that dial, because guess what? We are going to be having every prospective candidate, every assemblyman, every diplomat or wherever they are, whoever they are, that you need to hear from right here, every conversation on Tobago Updates Television, whether it's from social media or in-studio interviews, bringing you all that information. So I want you to make sure that you stay locked to Tobago Updates Television. Again, it was a pleasure indeed being seated here before you. Thank you so much, and see you next week. Enjoy your weekend.